clicked on this video, you saw the title, you probably want to know about my therapy journey. You might be looking so that you can know what it's like to go with therapy, or you just might be looking because you thought this was going to be a good video to watch, and that's valid. I went to therapy last year. I'm going to share my experience, and hopefully you feel more encouraged to go with therapy or you learn something from this video. So let's get into it. So last year, 2024, around September or October, around that time, I started going to therapy. I went because, for one of my friends encouraged me, and I also encouraged them. So that was a journey that we were going to take together. And I only went to 3 or 4 sessions, I don't remember. But from those 3 or 4 sessions, they were very beneficial. I went because there were some things that I wanted to deal with a therapist specifically. Be more specific, social anxiety, something I've struggled with all my life, and I still do. But since then, I've grown so much socially. Still a lot of room for growth, but it was beneficial. I can say therapy helped a lot. There are also some other things that I wanted to talk to my therapist about, and I don't think I even got the chance to get to that yet because we were really focused on social anxiety. So I did let them know that it was something I want to talk about. And that something is kind of like emotional stuff. Like in my head, I know what it is, but putting in words, like that's something I need to work out with a therapist. To get more into it, let me at least tell you what it was like. So I did this through my school, Virginia Tech. So I started off by making a call and saying, hey, I want to schedule an appointment to do a consultation, because that's how the process works. So I called, set the consultation appointment, and they stress so much that everything there is confidential. So they don't tell anybody unless if there's a raise of concern about violence or suicide, I believe. Violence towards yourself or somebody else. That's the only chance that your information gets told to somebody. Did the consultation meeting, then they set me with a therapist, and for social anxiety they gave me the option to do group therapy, because with social anxiety you gotta learn how to be social. So they offered this thing where you do group therapy with other people with social anxiety, and the therapist had told me like they do these role play things where you practice different social scenarios and stuff like that, and there's also groups that they don't do that. But I had said I don't know right now how I feel about going into group therapy initially, but I want to start with one-on-one therapy, then maybe group therapy. So that's what happened. And the same therapist that did the group therapy sessions did this one-on-one therapy with me. I had my first meeting with that person. To be honest, going into it, I was very nervous. For one, therapy was something that I thought about doing for years prior, and it just didn't come to life. But now it did, and here we are. I'm not going to share all the details, obviously, because it's stuff that I want to keep between me and my therapist and like stuff I worked on. But I will say, obviously, we talked about social anxiety. I talked about what I felt like caused it and some issues that I deal with. Well, for one, we talked it out. Did a lot of talking. I'd say therapy is very good for getting your thoughts out and unpacking your mind. That's part of social anxiety that I struggled with, and I still struggle with. Like, I have so many thoughts up here because I'm quiet and introverted, and I don't like sharing that much. Part of the reason I don't like sharing is because I just don't like telling people some things about me. I like being an open book. But as I've gotten older, I've been more vulnerable. And I think because I've gotten older and more vulnerable, that's allowed me to go to a therapist to be vulnerable with them. Even though I don't know this person and I have to put my trust in this person that they won't tell anybody. I came to realize over my 3 therapy sessions is that as I was unpacking all of my baggage per se, I was kind of talking about how I already had solutions and how I'm not as bad as I thought I was. And that's what my therapist told me. Like, they literally said, you understand that you have these problems and you've came to therapy to fix it or seek solutions. But even before you came to therapy, you've been doing your own due diligence to fix your own problems. It was more about me needing like those final details, or you figured most of it out, you just need a last little bit of assistance or a confirmation to show you that you are making progress and you've made progress and you're growing. Throughout these sessions, the therapist was very patient. The questions that they would ask me is very, very helpful. I'd say it helps you. I already had all these thoughts I need to get out, and I need to unpack all these things about myself that I need to unpack. But the questions they asked helped me unpack a lot more that I needed to. So as far as help and like what the therapist provided, they definitely, I wouldn't say challenged me, but strongly suggested that I do things differently in order to suppress my social anxiety, and to be more specific, like be more social and like get more involved with other people around my campus. And leading up to this point, I had not been a very social person at my college. They encouraged me to be more social, join a club or something, talk to people in class and stuff like that. And it was already in my plans to do that. Like, I knew that I had to go out my way to make friends and talk to people and be more social in order to overcome social anxiety. And the therapist had said that exactly. They said, you figured out most of it. You already have a plan. And the funny thing is, at the end of the third session, they were like, you don't really need therapy anymore. Of course, if you want, you're always free to come back to therapy. But with the way you're going, you make such good progress and at a good speed, and you have a good understanding of yourself and how to improve, that you're much better than you may think you are. That's something I kind of struggle with a lot too, is like realizing that I am better than I think I am. I think a lot of people also struggle with that, like having that negative self-image of yourself and thinking you're less than you are, even though you've probably made a bunch of progress, you've done a bunch of good things, but you set this high standard for yourself and you don't even realize the progress that you make. And that's something I unpacked in my last therapy session. Well, I brought to the therapist that I struggle with appreciating my accomplishments, or even appreciating, more specifically, compliments. And I had told him just what I had said. I set such a high standard for myself that I don't appreciate the small things, or even when people acknowledge my small things that I do, or things that may seem small to me, that I may diminish it and I may deflect the compliment or deflect the recognition. And that's not healthy for me as a human that needs to grow. You gotta appreciate the smaller things, basically. Any little bit of progress that you make, you have to accept it. And that just changes your mindset. And that kind of ties into the emotional things that I was also telling the therapist about. Like, my lack of appreciation stems from me not appreciating some smaller things in life. So that's kind of the conversation, just like kind of an insight of what the conversations were like with my therapist. And as somebody that doesn't really like to talk about myself or the things I deal with to other people, it was really healthy for me to go to therapy and allow myself to unpack everything for an hour or more to somebody that I knew would keep everything confidential, and somebody that I knew was going to help me. And even before that and after that, I've been pretty vulnerable with my friends. And for somebody that does these YouTube videos and talks about a lot of my self-experience and things like that, you may not think I'm not vulnerable. And I've kind of realized that I am vulnerable, and that's like another way of me kind of not appreciating something about me. I do have the ability to be vulnerable. It's just about me resisting it. So to anybody that wants to go to therapy, or anybody that's scared of going to therapy or thinking about it, take that leap of faith. Or I don't even know if I would call it a leap of faith. I would say just do it. Like, I remember seeing a bunch of commercials of people saying, I went to therapy and it was such a life changer. And for some reason in my mind, I was like, yeah, but I don't think I need it. Maybe it won't change my life that much. And it's changed my life. I won't say it's been a big life changer. Nah, it's been a life changer. I have to give it a lot of credit, give the therapist a lot of credit for the help that they provided me. But I also want to give myself some credit for building myself up. Not to diminish the therapist, but as they said, I've done a good job helping myself, so I want to give myself some credit as well. I want to give myself some credit for doing the things that I did to build myself. I hope this video encourages you to go to therapy. I will make another video talking about my therapy experience, but I wanted to just share my experience so that anybody that may be thinking about going to therapy will make that decision, and that maybe their lives will be changed or saved even. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video for friend, family member, etc. Please check out all my other videos. Thank you for watching.